Do you want to do this one or you want me to do it?
Do it.
The overarching goal of our research is to try to understand how humans have impacted coastal systems. And that's important because a lot of people live on the coast, so it's really easy for us to make a big impact. We're really used to thinking about this idea of carbon dioxide increasing really rapidly over the last, since pre-industrial times. And it has, but if we look at what we've done to nitrogen, it's just so much more of an impact.
In Waquoit Bay, where I study, the source of this nitrogen is from individual septic systems, and the nitrogen that's coming out of the septic systems very easily can percolate into the groundwater. This can cause some very negative consequences to coastal systems. The increased amount of nitrogen can stimulate algal production.
The more that grows, the bacteria that are eating it are breaking it down. It decomposes, it sucks out all the oxygen out of the water column. When there's no oxygen, that's like a sort of a fundamental thing that animals need, right? And so we're going to alter food webs, we're going to alter how the system functions.
Estuaries and coastal areas act as sort of natural filters of pollutants, and they actually can be a filter and mitigate the effects of nitrogen pollution. Essentially, we are collecting sediment cores.
Sediments might seem boring, but they're not. So essentially you can think of sediments as being almost their own organism, and so they're chock full of a really robust microbial community, and they can do this denitrification as a hotspot area for this activity. So if we want to say, okay, I want to understand how this process changes over time and with different conditions, the sediments are really the perfect spot to go and study that. We're going to bring all of these cores and these samples back to the lab and sort of recreate the environmental conditions that are occurring out there. We know that there's these low oxygen conditions there, so it's sort of a natural laboratory to test this impact and how that changes the methane and nitrous oxide fluxes that come either out of or into these sediments.
Then essentially we can get a rate that tells us how well are these sediments, is Waquoit Bay filtering out this reactive nitrogen.
I think that fundamentally if people knew what they were doing, if we knew that it's different things, whether or not we're putting fertilizer on our lawn or eating too much meat, or on a larger sort of global and regional scale. So when we increase temperature or we have ocean acidification occurring, those also can impact coastal systems. So sort of one of our overarching goals too is to try to hopefully get the word out that there are things we can do to lessen our nitrogen footprint.